Good morning, gorgeous people. How are you all? Thank you for tuning into today's studio. I'm so excited about today's studio. It is going to be a little bit different, so I hope you did get the list of supplies so you can craft along. If you're not crafting along, it's absolutely fine. The inspiration will still be there for you to take away and do whatever you please with it. We are on YouTube, so the videos never disappear also, so you can always go back and revisit and stop and pause and rewind and just take your time with it, okay? So in today's studio we are going to be using the first Craft Academy stamp. Fingers crossed you all got them, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show this morning, to give people that little bit more time to try and get that stamp. All I will say to you though is today isn't the only day we will be using that stamp. We are going to be using the stamp Monday, Tuesday and possibly Wednesday. So you will have to come and craft along with me, doesn't you? You're not doing anything else, hopefully, fingers crossed. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Toni and I'm a guest presenter over on Create and Craft, and as you will have seen, I've been at TV for the last 4 days on our fabulous 4-day deal. And thank you so much if you did purchase the products. If you didn't and you just picked up some inspiration, that's also amazing too. I am not on TV now for a while. I get a little rest. So what we're going to do is we're going to work through our lovely Craft Academy and concentrate on it. You've all bought the stamp, so let's have a lovely time and enjoy making some lovely cards with them. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to click the subscribe button, and also on there is a little bell that you can click, and this will give you all the notifications when we go live and things like that. If you are on Facebook also, I do post the makes after the show. I won't be posting out the finished makes for Craft Academy unfortunately, but I still will send a card to a winner after this show on our Facebook page, and that everybody's in with a chance of winning that one, anybody who comments on here, Facebook and YouTube, so you know, nobody misses out. So good morning all the regular faces, John, Kathleen, Denise, Karen, Sheila, Annette. I can see a few new faces as well. I think I just saw a lady, Lorraine. Good morning, Lorraine. If you are watching for the first time, I did see a little name pop up there saying this is your first time. So I hope you enjoy the show. It is a lovely place to come and basically get some encouragement to pick up your craft stash, whether it be my products or anybody's products. It's a lovely place to come. So John Bannon, if you have checked Facebook this morning, you are the winner of one of our fabulous studio makes, so well done. Don't forget to let me know your address as soon as you can, and I will get a lovely card out to you in the post. Just a couple of things I just want to go through then whilst I'm sat down. Postage and postal services just taking a little bit longer, and I know a lot of you are being patient and I am very grateful for that. But we are very grateful that Royal Mail are still continuing to post out goods and things for us. They're just taking a little bit longer, and if you have emailed and you've had half a parcel and you're missing half a parcel, we are nearly through all of the emails now. So again, thank you for all your patience. It's just been a little bit of a tough few weeks because, as you can appreciate, there's no staff in the building. So it's really been down to Toni and Tim to literally do the packing, the orders, the TV, the studio and everything like that. I'm not making excuses in any way, shape or form, but I just want you to know that we are taking a little bit longer than we would traditionally normal. So good morning everybody. So have we all got our stamp? If you haven't, have a look in your stash. You might have something that will be able to do the technique that we're going to do in studio today. So I will do as much as I can in the live hour, and then I'm not here tomorrow though, guys. I just need to stress that I'm not here tomorrow, just simply because I have some other things that I need to sort out tomorrow, i.e. my house and my family. We just need to catch up. I haven't had an opportunity to catch up, so I won't be here tomorrow, but I'll be here every day from there on until TV tell me otherwise. So I hope you've all got your stuff. So if you did check Facebook, you will see that I did pop out a little list asking you to grab a few supplies. Now, if you are sat at your desk now thinking, I want to craft along but I haven't got those goods, I will just quickly tell you what you're going to need, and it's so basic. So you're just going to need some black card, maybe some white card, and maybe some gold card if you have it in your stash. You're going to need a couple of maybe water-based inks if you've got your Tim Holtz, any that you've got in your stash, any colours. You're going to need a black ink pad, maybe a grey ink pad too. But if you haven't got the stuff that I'm mentioning, just grab a different colour. So if you haven't got a black ink pad, maybe use a brown ink pad or something like that, okay? These are not core essentials. You'll just get a different effect on your card. You'll still be able to get the effect that we're going to do today. And a paintbrush, as always. So first of all, excuse me, the stamp that we're going to use is the lovely Stairs. Now, if you're still wanting to buy the Stairs and take it step by step, you can still buy this stamp, okay? The tuition never goes away just because you haven't got it today in your hand. We're going to be doing it all next week too. So the stamp that we're going to be using today in the tuition is the take it step by step. Lorraine, I have not finished my craft room. It has not seen the light of day since I started it, but I will fight on and continue on next week, hopefully, time given. So that's the one. You will also know as well, ladies and gents, that I also launched the second one, My Adventure. And you can see from the samples on the back here, I'll just slightly move over. So here we have the fabulous samples from the fabulous step by step on there. And over on the left here, you can see the lovely trees, and that's the following week stamp. So if you're wanting to follow along with this stamp the following week, you can get this stamp too. If you can't afford it, and I appreciate people can't afford it, we're not all made of money, including myself, have a look in your stash and find something that might have some trees in a line. Okay, so it doesn't have to have the path, but maybe something that's got trees or something in a line, okay? So what we're going to do is we'll focus on this one this week, and then we'll focus next Monday on this one for you here. Okay, so it's a 12-week program, and you don't have to have all the stamps. You can cherry pick. On tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, Monday morning, we will be sending the letter showing you the third stamp which we will be working on. So basically we show you the stamp, we give you the opportunity to get it, and then we follow the tuition week on week. So I know it says 12 weeks actually, but it's actually more than 12 weeks because we're obviously a week behind with the tuition, but it's great and it's a lovely place to come. And if you are scratching around the house, climbing the walls, me being here every single day, I know this is not very pretty, but I am here every single day with some inspiration for you. So well done everybody who bought it. Let's do some craft, shall we? So first of all, what I wanted to show you was, now the stamps are really big stamps, and this is mine. It's a little bit ugly unfortunately, but it is well loved. It's a beautiful stamp. And what I'm going to say to you is, it's a really big stamp. So people have been saying, well, I haven't really got the card blanks for a really big stamp. So I'm going to show you how I make my card blanks, okay? And I make them big. So this is the card that we're first off going to start off with. So it's this lovely bleaching effect here. If you don't like the bleaching effect, you can take the inspiration away with you, make another card, but don't spray it with water, okay? So everything I'm showing you is just to basically encourage you to step outside the box and do something a little bit different. If you don't like it, you've still got your stamp at home and you can put your twist and style on it as much as you please. So you can see this card here. Now you don't have to craft along with me to make a card, but I just want to show you quickly how I make these super large cards for the larger stamps, okay? So here I have 2 pieces of A4 white cardstock. Let's just see what size I've done this one. I'll just bring my card in here. And I always put them portrait like so, because then I'm going to get a bigger card. You do get a little bit of waste when you do it this way, but all I would say is the offcuts can always be used for your sentiments and your banners and things like, and your wraparounds and things like that. But I just think these are quite, nobody really does cards as big as this really, so it's quite you've probably got lots of A4 card in your stash, black card, craft card in your stash, haven't you? So yeah, 7 by 10, perfect. So 2 pieces of A4 card. I'm just going to grab, so you don't have to craft along with me in this sense if you don't want to. It's just a quick show to show you that you can make big cards for these lovely stamps. Now this is a big card, but as you can see from behind me here, I have your regular card, just lean back, your regular card sizes too, okay? So these are quite big ones, but these ones are still your smalls, and you can still get the stamp on there should you wish. So let's just have a look at this one. This is how I make my card blanks. So I just get the piece of card, see how fat I want it. I pop a little mark, as you know, with my finger, and then I cut it straight down here. So I know that's the width of my card. And then the second piece I cut the same. So I put them together like so, pop them on top of each other. I never measure, so if you are watching for the first time, this is probably a little bit alien to you. I don't measure, I just like to pop a little mark and just go for it. The measurements confuse me. So pop that one in there too. Like so, and just set that aside a little bit. Let's move this out of the way. And then with one of the pieces of card, all I do is I pop it in my score tool, whatever scoreboard you've got at home, and I just score it at 1 inch. So I have a nice hinge. Like so. And then just fold it over. Now there are a few ways that you can do this. If you don't like, so you could pop this, glue it down around the back so the hinge is at the back like so, so your card looks like that at the back. Or you can glue it on the inside so you can't see that nasty hinge, and then the hinge is on the inside. You see that there? But then what you want to do then is, if you don't like the mess on the inside, just pop another piece of card on top to hide your hinge. And this is the way that I do my bigger cards, guys, at home. Okay, so 2 pieces of card, same size, one with a hinge, and glue it together, and then I just crop off the end what I'm not going to be using. So if you do like your bigger cards, that's how I do it. Because a lot of people say, where can you buy them? You really don't need to buy them. If you can make them, you know, save a bit of money. And we've all got loads of card in our stash, haven't we? So that's the way that I do them, and you can do them with all the colours of cardstock in your stash, your pinks, your greens, your blues, your yellows, whatever you've got in your stash. And then your normal size cards, your 5x7s, you will have in your stash anyway. So I'm going to grab a piece of white cardstock. This is just normal cardstock, nothing fancy, and over the course of the 12-week programme, I will never ask you to use something that I don't think you won't have in your stash. And if I do use something that maybe something hasn't got, we'll try and think of an alternative for you. Okay? Yep, a card insert would hide the join, that's right. So if you like your inserts, I love inserts, just never done them, but I do love them. I think they take your card to that next level, don't they? Right, so piece of white cardstock, and I need to grab my Eureka, so just excuse me, because, oh dear. Just 1 second. Super organised and all, my Eureka's in my car. Oh. This just sums up the morning, doesn't it? I've been so excited. Tim said, are you organised? I'm like, absolutely organised, and my Eureka is in my car. There might be just one through in my craft room. So just have to bear with me a second, guys. I'm so sorry. So let's just gather the things that we need whilst we grab a Eureka. So as you can see from the picture here, we've used some brown. So if you have got a brown ink pad, so I've got Distress Oxide. If you haven't got Distress Oxide, we can go with a Distress ink. So I have Walnut Stain, Gathered Twigs, any brown tones. If you don't have a brown ink pad full stop, maybe grab a grey. Grey looks really effective. But just grab what you've got in your stash, and then if you do really, really love the brown and you don't have a brown ink pad, you can then like to go and buy a brown ink pad, can't you? So we'll just grab the stamp. Oh, your stamp's just arrived, Doreen. Quickly, quickly, get it out of the packet. No, we're not rushing, don't you worry. And if we have to work over a little bit today, YouTube permitting, we will do that. So as you can see, the stamp is absolutely huge, and this is an A4 piece of paper card. So just pop it on there like so. So you can see how big that one is. So you need to grab either a paintbrush or a spray bottle. So whatever you've got in your stash. And this is how we're going to create our lovely bleached out background on there. So you can see it's been sprayed and then bled, and then we're going to re-stamp over the top. And this is why I really need my Eureka, otherwise I would have just gone with it on my cutting plate. Yeah, at least I remember where I put it. You'd think I'd have two, wouldn't you? But I don't. I just have one in my craft bag and it just goes around the world with me, unfortunately. So also you are going to need is, let me just check, a set of scissors, a pair of scissors. So this is a good opportunity to get all our bits out for when I do get my Eureka. You're going to need a set of scissors and some coloured ink pads too, because we're going to make the bouquet as well, and we're going to 3D that one off too. So let's just have a look at some of the lovely comments. The weather's not the best today, is it? It's typical, isn't it? I've been travelling to Create and Craft every single day and it's been absolutely beautiful. And then this afternoon, you sit down and you think, oh, where's the sun gone? You're crazy. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's... Yeah, that is true, and Adele is not telling fibs. She does have four. She has a few houses, which, not that she's posh or rich, I would never say that. Well, she might be, but she works in various locations, so she has to have places in various places. So what she has to do is she has to have more than one, so she's not lugging it all around. So I popped it into my Eureka, my A4 piece of card here, and I've just got the stamp, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it in this bottom corner. Now we could turn our card around, couldn't we, so we don't get waste. Let's pop it in like that, like so, and then we've got a bit of card there for saving. So I'll just pop that there. Can we see that there? So you can see it's hung over. So I'm being asked about envelopes. Now I don't buy envelopes, I make my own envelopes. I have the We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board, and that's how I make my envelopes if I'm going to be sending a large card out. But to be honest with you, the larger cards I don't really send out. I send out the ones that actually come with envelopes, but if I do need to make an extra special envelope, I do make it on my We Are Memory Keepers envelope board. I hope that helps. So first of all, so if you've got your ink pads, all we're going to do is we're going to ink up the stamp. Shall we go? It doesn't really matter, I'm just going to go with this one. So whatever you've got on your stash, we're inking up the stamp here. So Marilyn, let's have a look, of course. Let's tell you the size of the biggest card. Just 1 second. Let me just move my things out so I can measure it for you, sweetheart. So it's in centimetres is my mat, and the height of it is 25 centimetres and the width is 19. Okay, so 25 tall centimetres, 19 wide, and that gives us this beautiful white on white element. You see how I've got the white element down the side and then the gold, so that gives us that, but you don't have to go as big as that. You can keep it quite, you'd probably get away with doing a few centimetres less if you really wanted to, it depends. But because the card's quite flat, you can send it through the post, it'd be pretty inexpensive. So let's ink up this stamp. So I'm just going to spray the stamp. If you don't have a spray bottle, all you need to do is get your paintbrush and wet your cardstock. So grab some water and wet the cardstock with some water, and then that, when you come to stamp your stamp, it'll bleach it out. So a couple of ways of doing it. I'm going to spray. But if you've wet the card, if you haven't got a spray bottle, just wet the card and stamp the stamp into the wet cardstock, and you will get the sort of bleeding effect anyway. This actually is not my technique. This is Sandra's off my design team. She did it once on a card and I've not been able to stop doing it. It's a super technique. It just gives you a different effect on your cards. So when you stamp it out like so, you get like this sort of effect. Now you can spray even more, just to get it to bleach out a little bit more if you want to. Just let it work its magic on there. Can we see how the ink is just moving around on there? So can I ask how many people are actually crafting along with me this morning? Do we know? It would be lovely to know. So because that's just bleaching out, I'm just going to dry that off with my gun. Hopefully you have got a heat gun. If you haven't, just set it aside to dry. It'll naturally dry. It'll only take a couple of minutes. I am me. That's great news. So let's dry our image off. So studio, if you are new to the studio today, it's not normally like this. Basically, I mean, some people do craft along, but normally I do a lot of the work before time. So we can get a couple of cards made, 2 or 3. Just get my puddles to dry up a little bit. Don't worry if you're a little bit behind, nothing's lost. Remember, you can just rewind me. It doesn't affect the studio in any way, shape or form. You can rewind or pause at any point. Yep, and that's a great idea too if you are watching and then you'll craft later this afternoon maybe. That's a great thing about them being on YouTube though, isn't it, Jeanette? You can watch them as many times as you like. Some of us are not the most, some of us are not speed crafters at all. Do need to take our time with it and, you know, absorb what's going on. So if I do look like I'm looking at the floor, I'm not actually looking at the floor. I am reading all of your fabulous comments. I just like to try and make sure we're not getting any questions or... So the ink pad, Joan, that I've used is the oxide and it's walnut stain. This one here. This is the only brown I have in oxide. I don't have many oxides at all. But you can use your distress inks from the little, I mean you get your bigger pads, I've just got the little ones unfortunately, but the walnut stain and the gathered twigs ones would work equally as well. And when we come to stamp our second layer, you can swap out the ink pads, brown on brown, different tones of brown, it looks fabulous. So I'm just going to clean the stamp now. Let's just clean this one down. So it's a bit watery and we don't want the water effect on the second stage of our stamping. So let's just give that a clean off there. My stamp cleaning cloth is also in the car. So now I have loads of lint on my stamp. It's going well. Today's going well so far. Oh. Does the distress ink bleed like that? It does, yep, it's water based. As soon as you spray with water, it'll just go pow. So yeah. Don't forget to click the HD button over on your YouTube though, you will get a clearer picture. There is a little HD button on your screen. I think it's down on the left or the right, one or the other. If you click it, you'll get a much clearer picture. So now let's ink up again. My stamp hasn't moved on my Eureka here, it's still in place, so I'm just going to restamp now on top of that bleed, and what this is going to do is this is going to just sort of tie it together so it's not going to look as rugged, but you get that beautiful bleaching effect in the background and it looks pretty cool. So I've just swapped out for one of my little ink pads here just for difference, but you can use one ink pad, okay, because you're not bleaching out on the second stamping part. You will get a lovely crisp image. Now you might have to stamp it a few times to get a clear stamp, but we'll see how we do. So let's just do the first one first. Give it a good old push down. And as I've said to you all before, I know we've got new faces and I'm sorry if I'm sounding like I'm repeating myself all the time, but we will be having downloadable instructions for every studio, and they will be in our downloadable section on our website. We started this before the lockdown process, obviously staff are working from home now, but as soon as we're back on check and everything's back to a bit of normality, they will be there for you, and it's a great place to go if you're not visual and you can read instructions. I know people are different. So I'm going to stamp this again because I just want this little area here to be a bit more detailed. It was bleached out a little bit too much in that area, so this would look lovely in some pink tones maybe, you know, like your pink oxide and then a nice bright pink over the top. That would look quite pretty. So try and get all that detail in there if we can. And this is what I was saying about maybe having to repeat the stamping process 2 or 3 times to get that clarity on that second stamp. So Di's saying she's just used ink, tea dye, and that looks good. So it is down to, there we go. So we're getting the clarity here. Can we see this here? I'm just going to concentrate on this little piece here, which is this piece here. Get the detail in there. And I think that one's literally good to go. It looks really, really effective. Brilliant for gents cards. There we go. So that looks beautiful. So that's just bleached out once and then brought to life with the detail part not sprayed on the second time. So let's just set this one aside. And what you're going to need is another piece of white card. So let's just grab another piece of white card. In fact, you could use the other side of this piece of card if you want to, because you're going to cut that out. So if you're just working on one piece, use the other side of this card, okay? And I'm just going to pop this into my Eureka. And what we're going to do is we're going to stamp it out again, and we're going to focus just on the vase of flowers this time. And I'm going to just go for the same brown. And we're just going to focus on the bunch of flowers that are in that vase, which are sitting on that lovely staircase. Let's stamp that one out. So I'm not inking up all of the stamp, just where I need the vase and the detailed flowers inside. Just do it one more time because I've missed a little bit in the centre there. Hopefully it'll do it this time. Hopefully we're going to have a nice crisp image this time. There we go, I'm absolutely happy with that one. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to fussy cut around this vase. Now, there are flowers that are a little bit loose at the top of this stamp. You can see here they're a little bit, and you're thinking I can't fussy cut around that. I never fussy cut into the detail because what happens is all these elements end up being super flimsy. So I always leave them there, and I'll show you a little bit of cheat of how to get around them being white. So let's cut the vase out. So if you have got a pair of scissors, I'm just going around the lovely vase from the stamp. Just cut this out of the card here. So I'm just going to go around, and the areas that I can get into with my scissors I will, and the areas that are just too detailed and are going to make my work flimsy I will leave be. So I'm not overly concerned if I've got a white edge because I'm going to show you how to get around that. So you can see I'm just doing a delicate frame around. I'm not going into all the intricate detail. Just making sure I get all those flowers in there because they are really pretty once they are painted. You see that there? Oh, I'm sorry if your stamp hasn't arrived. It's a little bit tricky. There's Ali on my design team. It's just unfortunate that I send everything out to the design team and everybody gets it way before Ali. It's just taken a long time in some areas, so I do apologise, but that's one of the reasons why we are going to be doing it several days, so hopefully you will be able to craft along live as soon as it lands. I'll still be here for you. So that's just basically cut out. It doesn't look the best at the moment, you know, because it's not cut fancy, but I'm going to show you how to get rid of this ugly like white area where you, if you do like to fussy cut and you do like to get into all that detail, then that's brilliant, but I just haven't got the hand for it. I'm not very good at it. So I'll just show you what I do, and then if it's something that will help you with your fussy cutting cheats, then that's brilliant. So let's just take my stamp off here. So if you are wanting, I'm just being told, if you are wanting the step by this one that we're working on today, there isn't a lot left. We only did a certain amount, and it's a 12-week program, and once it's gone, it's absolutely gone. So I know majority of you have got it now, which is fabulous. And as you know, we're donating £1 of every stamp to the food bank at Wakefield, so I can't wait to see how much we do over the 12-week program. So that's going to be super nice too, you know, just giving something a little bit back to the people that need it. So these lovely flowers, and let's just bring in this piece of our artwork from what we've just diluted down, or should we say bleached. I'm just going to pop this onto here while I just work, because it's a bit of a work surface. So what I'm going to do is these white areas, I'm just going to grab my ink pad that I stamped it in, nothing fancy, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my paintbrush, just going to pick up a little bit of that colour, dilute it down a little bit, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in the white areas. Now you can colour the whole stamp because the flowers are going to be painted quite bright, so it will hide the brown anyway. But if you've got any nasty white areas where you've not been able to get with your scissors, fill them in with the same coloured ink pad and take the colour all the way around the edge to get rid of any white blocky areas where you couldn't quite get in with your scissors. And this is how I find that fussy cutting becomes quite easy when you colour in the spaces with the same coloured ink pad. And it's a great tip as well, because I just cannot fussy cut for toffee. So all those little white areas, just be careful not to reactivate the colour underneath because they are water-based inks. But there we go. So I'm just going to dry that off with my gun. So the weight of card tracing I'm using is 250. So for your stamping and things like that, I would always use 200 and above, but for your card making, if you're making your own card blanks, make sure you use 250 and above, because what will happen is if it's thin, when you give it to somebody, it'll just end up collapsing. The weight of the card is just not good enough. So 250 above for your card blanks, and then 200 if you're just sort of like doing this sort of effect. So I'm just filled in all those ugly white areas with the same colour. I'm just drying it off now. Now at this point, it's really down to your own creativity. What are you wanting to do with, who's the card for? What are you wanting to achieve with your card? So I'm going to do a really lovely, bright and breezy set of flowers in here. Okay, I have the distress inks. If you have a watercolour palette, if you have your pencils, there are lots of alternatives. So if you haven't got what I'm using in show, don't worry about it. You will have something. You'll have some pens, some alcohol markers. You'll have something to colour these flowers in, I'm certain of it. And as I've said to you all before, I won't use anything in studio that I don't think you haven't got at home. And if I do use something that's a little bit out of the box, I will offer you options. So I'm doing it in this, but if you have that, then, because you know, the point of studio is to keep cost down. So you've bought the stamp and then to use all the other stuff in your stash. That's what they're there for, isn't it? So I use the if you are absolutely following along and doing step by step exactly as I am, I'm using Candied Apple. So Lorraine, if you are wanting the stamp, sweetheart, all you need to do is go to our website and pop FBL into the search engine, and it brings up all the stamps and all the products that we've used live in studio, so you'll be able to see the step-by-step stamp in there, sweetheart. So FBL in the search engine on our website. So I'm using Wilted Violet, Candied Apple, let's go for a yellow too, Wild Honey, all bright and breezy colours for these flowers, and then we're going to have to use a green because we've got a few leaves in there too. Yeah, sorry, my apologies. Stampsbyme.co.uk. I always just say Stamps by Me, I just presume everybody knows, and my apologies. So I'm just going to pick up my watercolour brush here. If you have a brush where the water's in the barrel, they work too. There's no right or wrong way. So let's do the purple first, and let's colour our beautiful flowers. So I always say, if you can and you have the courage, leave some white spaces. So don't colour the flower in solid. So I just pounce the colour into the flowers, but I do leave a little bit of white in there if I can, and it just suggests a little bit of light and shade. So pounce it into the flowers on there. Yep, sparkle pens. Use what you've got in your stash. You know, all the stuff that you've been buying for the last, I mean, I haven't been crafting probably as long as of you guys, but you'll have 20 years worth of stash, I'm sure. Just get them out. You'll know yourself what will and won't work. So let's use a beautiful red too. Just put on a little bit of water there, so I'm just taking it back off. So let's spot some red into these ones up here. So I'm just pouncing the colour in, trying to leave some white spaces if possible. Kathleen, yeah, it does look like a stairway to heaven. I hope I go to heaven. Mind you, I hope a lot of us hope we'll go to heaven. I bet it's lovely up there. So some more colour on there. And then let's get some of this. Well, it's not particularly green, it's actually a bit of a bluey green, but I'm going to go with it because I've done it now. Don't forget, when you pop the colour on as well, it always dries a little bit lighter. Can we see how our bouquet is coming together? Quite bright, but really, really lovely. And then you can pop some suggestion, oh, a bit watery that. You can pop some suggestion of some flowers just in the spaces too. Be a little bit creative if you want to. Because it is quite a wild bunch of flowers, this one actually. It's not really got any formation in any sense. So I'm just pouncing the colour, getting rid of all the white spaces. So you can instantly see now how painting that like background in, filling in that white space has got rid of the ugliness. It actually looks like it was purposely built, and you've actually cut it round purpose, if that makes sense, because there's no white spaces in there now. So it actually looks like you've done it on purpose, which is nice. That's how I get around fussy cutting anyway. So let's do our beautiful vase. Now, this would look beautiful in like a metallic gold to make it look really ornate. I haven't got it with me. So what we're going to do, we're going to maybe go with the same colour as our staircase. But you can use whatever colour. You can use a yellow, maybe your sparkle pens. But I'm just going to go with the brown that we stamped it in. I'm just going to colour the vase. Now, you don't have to leave white spaces on this one if you don't want to. It's entirely up to you. I'm just dragging that colour down that pretty vase. Just remember though, you have stamped in a water-based ink, so it'll bleed slightly, but it does add to the effect, which I quite like. I'll just colour that in now. Could actually pop your glitters on here as well, that would be nice. Nice sparkly vase. There we go. Quite dark, that vase actually, but it will dry lighter. So let's dry this one off with our gun. Can you imagine if we all were crafting in heaven? I'll see you there. I'll let you guys teach me when I come. That'd be fabulous, wouldn't it? Wonder if they have classes in heaven. That's a whole new subject, isn't it? So I can see lots and lots of new faces. It's absolutely amazing. Welcome everybody. If you are watching for the first time, don't forget to click the subscribe button. You'll be able to watch us every single day, albeit I'm not here tomorrow, but every single day, and we just inspire one another. If I'm not inspiring you, the lovely ladies who tune in every single week, pop on our Eureka fan page, and the inspiration is overwhelming. We have mood boards from the design team. Lots and lots of stuff to keep you occupied, whether you are in lockdown or you aren't. The inspiration is still there. It's a lovely place. And if you do like any of the products, as always, you can go to stampsbyme.co.uk and pop in the search engine FBL and purchase any of the products. But as always, you can use what you've got in your stash. It's just the inspiration. We do love you to buy our products, and we do love to work with our products, but if you can't afford them, it's okay. You know, you can use what you've got in your stash. So let's pop this away and let's move on to the next stage. So this is crying out for some sparkles, our beautiful bouquet. So I'm just giving it a little bit of teasing with my hand. It's quite thick, it's 250. So I'm just giving it a little bit of tease. I'm just trying to curve that vase a little bit maybe. If you've got your ball tools and things like that, you could maybe really give it some texture. So I'm just trying to give it a little bit of depth on there. So let's get this card put together. I'm just going to grab my guillotine and I'm just going to trim our fabulous bleach defect out of this cardstock here. So I'm just going to go with my eye, maybe go there. So you can see now you've got rid of that excess card, you can see it's already going to be a beautiful card, can't you? So at this point, you could matte and layer onto some gold and then onto some white and then onto a white card. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the card front, and then you can mount it onto a card later yourself, if that's okay. So we're always going to do the construction part, this part, and then it's down to yourselves to matte and layer it onto the colours you prefer. So what we need to do now is we need to get a lovely sentiment on here. Now you'll have noticed that there are practically no sentiments within our Craft Academy. Let me just grab mine. Craft Academy set. So again, time to get your stash out and use what's in your stash. Excuse me, I'm just going to grab my stamps. And pick a sentiment. So I'm just using the ones that are in the Craft Academy collection here, but you can use whatever you have in your stash. I'm just going to go with happy birthday. Let's go with best wishes. And I'm going to stamp this one out in black so it pops from the page. So I'm just going to pop best wishes over the right hand side of this step somewhere. Let's go. I like my sentiments within my artwork, but if you're not a fan of popping them within the artwork and like them around the edge or on a banner or on a plaque, then you can do that as well. I'm just showing you a bit of inspiration, but you can twist it and make it as you please, as you all know. So let's just stamp this one out in black. So I'll just stamp it one more time to make it a little bit clearer. Yeah, you need to go and see our Eureka fan page. Jeanette is right, it's just a lovely place. There's no negativity in there, just a complete bunch of inspirational people who are there for the right reasons and are so inspiring. I get my inspiration. It's that turning circle. You inspire me, I inspire you, and we all just tick, 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 tick. So it's amazing, really. I love it. I don't know what we did without it. So what we need to do now is we need to sort of like get this embellishment onto our card. I'm going to double pad so it gives it that dimension. So I'm just going to pop a pad there and one down here. And then take away the back and add 2 more pads so we do get the depth. So that one, just grab another pad. So all I've done there, if you are maybe a newbie crafter, is I've just double padded just to give myself that little bit more dimension than it would if I just had 1 pad. And then I'm just going to place it over this side here, and I'm going to literally place it over. Can we see that there? So you get the dimension on your card. Can we see there? I'll show you it this way. So if I bend the card back, you can see, and then if I turn it to the side, you just get that little bit of dimension. Now you can pad and pad and pad. Make it as beautiful as you want. It's crying out for some sparkle, is this card. So I'm not going to mat and layer it because I do believe you all can mat and layer, but I'm just bringing the card to show you how I have done exactly the same technique as I did with this card here, but you can see it is different. You see? They are different, aren't they? This is a lighter colour vase on there. The flower, these ones got sparkly flowers because I used some sparkle over the top. Very vintage looking is this one because it's darker. But then all I did was I mounted this onto some gold mirror card here, as you can see, then onto some white, and then the white I popped some pads behind and popped it onto our top folding note card. So that is how you do that technique. If you've done it before, brilliant. If you haven't done it before, please give it a go. It's a really, really lovely technique. So what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to try and get another card done. Try and do another card, shall we? So grab some white cardstock. We're going to do it all again, but we're going to do it differently this time. So that is that technique. So I hope you're enjoying the craft along, and I hope I'm not leaving anybody behind. But the whole purpose of it being on YouTube is the fact that you can rewind and pause, go back, keep up and just craft as you please. So I'm just grabbing my Eureka here. You're having a great time. Oh, that's brilliant. You know, it makes me so happy when people tell me they're having a great time. I could sit here all day. I really could. Right, so let's get some white cardstock. So I've just got another piece of white cardstock here. I'm just popping this into the Eureka. And what we're going to do is we're just going to show you, I'm just going to show you this card quickly if we've got the chance. Now, you will see that the staircase has been painted in a gold like metallic, and that's one of our new paints. But you can use your metallics, you can use normal watercolours, you can use whatever you want to choose on there, okay? So I'm just going to show you quickly how I did this one. So it looks actually like it's got a red staircase going up, and I felt, you know, like as if it was in the Queen's house or like a really posh hotel. That was the thinking behind it. But you could have with love, sympathy, happy birthday. They work for so many genres. So black ink pad this time, and I'm using the waterproof one because this time we are going to be watercolouring, but I'm going to just watercolour with my traditional watercolour distress inks, okay? So I'm not going to be using my watercolour palette, albeit if you have got your watercolour palette, you can take your time and absolutely go to town and just enjoy painting these, because all of the Craft Academy 12-week programme all lends itself really well to colouring. So whether that be pens, pencils, alcohol markers, whatever you've got. So let's stamp this one out in the waterproof ink pad. Now if you haven't got this one, I think Tonic do a great waterproof one as well. There are a variation of these ones. I find this one to be the best, but you know, whatever you've got at home. So let's ink this one up and let's stamp it out in the black. So let's get lots of ink on there. So my ink pad is actually drying up, I can see it now. So I might have to stamp it twice, we'll see. Just move my magnet a little bit closer there so it doesn't move. So I'm just going to ink it one more time, concentrate on the areas where I didn't get quite a clean stamp. So that part there. And this isn't down to the stamp. Oh, my Eureka is clearly my ink pad. But I'm okay, I'm so tight and I'll use it till it turns grey. So let's press down here. I'm happy with that one. It has quite texturised colouring lines in there, hasn't it anyway? So I'm happy with that one. So let's set this aside. And the great thing about this stamp is because obviously the texture disappears halfway up the stairs, it gives you the opportunity to pop your sentiments in on a different way. So, you know, and the reason why I did this is because I really didn't have a stamp that was going to fit really. So I thought, well, what a great way to do it up the side. So something a little bit different on that one. So you can see there. But again, mixing it up with your other mediums and you get a really ornate finish on there. So let's go with the red. I'm just going to get my palette here. If you haven't got a palette, you can use the top of your Eureka, you can use your glass mats, you can use your messy mats. So I'm just going to pop the red in here and I'm going to paint this lovely staircase in red. So this is what's going to give us that red velvet feel as if it's a carpet. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it up to this texturised line where the shadow is on there. So whether that's where the carpet would end or start, I'm not quite sure, but I'm just going with. So as you can see, I'm not blending the line out at the end. I'm literally just dragging it out and leaving a rugged line, and that suggests there's actually more to the image and it gives a nice finish too. So just drag left to right and leave the lines at the side because it does look a little bit more arty. So I'll do my first layer of red first. And again, if you went over it with your sparkle, it would give you like a velvety feel, you know, that like really dark velvety colour. You could add a little bit of blue to this and you would get that velvety, really dark, like burgundy colour, what you would find in a really dark carpet. So I'm just using normal cardstock. I'm not using watercolour card because not everybody's got watercolour card. So I'm just sticking with what I know most of you will have, hopefully. And as you watch the shows, if you are a new crafter or a beginner crafter, as you watch the shows, you will just quickly understand what craft products are important and what are not. And I always say like your core items, like the things that you're going to stamp in, your coloured ink pads and things like that, they are core items and they're an absolute must. But you will, as you watch the shows, quickly understand that a lot of the stuff we buy, we obviously use because we love them, and I'm addicted to pens and pencils, so I'm always going to buy them. But if you only have like one set of pencils or one set of pens or one set of paints, they will work across the board. You don't have to have it. You don't have to have it all. I know we do like to have it all, but you don't have to have it all. So I'm going to end my carpet there. And if you really wanted to spend some time, you could put some shadow under each step to make it look like there is a set of stairs there. So what I'm going to do now is, let's just move the red out and swap it out for a yellow. So I'm using the wild honey on this one, and this is going to give us our lovely ornate stairs, albeit not metallic like the one in my sample, but it's still going to do the job. So I'm just going to pop this yellow into here, into this shadow. And as you can see, I'm not being very careful, but you still get the results. The stamp will do the work for you. You can just enjoy it. So let's get that colour in that shadow on that step. So welcome Paula Ramskill, welcome to the show, darling. We're seeing that you are joining for the first time. It's lovely to see you. Welcome to the Stamps by Me family. Hope you're enjoying the show. So I am literally just flying through this colouring here because we are running out of time, but I really do want to show you as many techniques as we can, and don't forget to use that waterproof ink pad. Let's get some more colour on there. And then we'll go all the way up the staircase. There we go. Shall we do our vase a different colour this time? Because it's not in the metallic. Let's chop and change it, hey? So let's do a brown vase. I'm going to do it a little bit lighter than my last one though. I felt my last one was a little bit too dark. So let's paint our vase in there. There we go. And then let's go with some flowers. Now in the sample here you'll see that I did the flowers in red because I felt like it was in keeping with my carpet. So shall we do the same? I've got a bit of red in my palette here, look. So after today's show, this is the first one. What I could do with is a little bit of help from our lovely faces that I have tuned in and tune in all the time. Just let me know how you felt today went, and if we can improve anything, please do let me know, because this is a 12-week program, and if it's not working I need to know about it, and if we need to be doing anything else whilst we're live, just let me know. When I pop the pictures on Facebook after here, go on and pop a comment on and just let me know, was it okay, did I enjoy it, did I go too fast, do I need to slow down? You can't tell me to shut up though, because that is one of my what skills, talking. So you can't tell me to shut up. But yeah, we do love feedback, and obviously we are going to be here for 12 weeks doing this kind of thing. What's going to happen also is I'm going to try at least one day out of the week as well to just go back to just using stuff that you've purchased from us before. So we're chopping and changing it up, because some people might not want to do the Craft Academy element of it, so I will try and chop it up and try and get one day out of them all where we're doing something different, maybe a die cut card or something a little bit different. So I'm just going to take some of this lovely greeny colour. I'm just going to drop this in and around my flowers just to suggest there's a little bit of green in there. Pounce it through. So this is literally a one layer card, okay? So the other one's got a little bit of dimension, and you can build this up as big or as small as you want, but this one is absolutely a one layer card. So let's just dry this one off. I would say, let me just check the lady's name, Doreen, you're saying mine looks better than yours. All I will say to you is, things always look better on camera. And I'll tell you a little secret, right? Sometimes when I've had a studio and I felt to myself, this is going horribly wrong, this is not the best card in the world, it's looking a little bit grim, and I've come off a little bit deflated thinking, you know what, I could have done a little bit better. But then when I've gone home and watched studio on my TV, it didn't show. My card looked like, oh, I'm pleased with that. It really, so I would probably say camera makes them look a little bit better than they actually are. So don't be hard on yourself. I'm telling you not to be hard on yourself, and I'm the world's worst. But yeah, they do look better on camera. They really, really do. I'm not saying they're rubbish, what I do, because sometimes I feel like I do some really good cards. Sometimes I don't get it right. I am not, you know, don't get it right all the time. So let's pop a lovely sentiment on here, and then you can see where this card's going. As you've seen, and is it okay that I'm not mounting them onto cards, or would you prefer to do me to do the card start to finish? I'm just conscious that if I do a card start to finish, i.e. do the matte and layers as well, it's going to eat into the second card. So I hope this way is better. So I'm being asked what we're going to need for next week. So you're going to need all of the products that I've used today, and you're also going to need for Monday morning some embossing powder, maybe a black, a clear and a gold. I'm going to show you some techniques using embossing powders. So all of the stuff that you've got here today with an embossing ink pad and some embossing powders. If you haven't got those things, if you can try and get what we've used today, you can still do what I'm going to do. But they're the more things that we're going to need on there as well. So don't forget as well, everything I am going to do will be on our downloadable section. So if you do like to download the products and you do like to get the lists and print them off and pop them in a folder and keep them forever, then you can do that. I know some of you do like to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the large Grateful from this beautiful Blossom. This is one of the stamps coming up in the 12-week program, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop it straight up the side here. Now this would look beautiful in a gold emboss. Okay, so think you're following me today and you're probably copying me, and that's absolutely fine, but if you are going to make it again, chop it up a little bit, use the bits and bobs that you've got in your stash, because these stamps are going to lend themselves so well to so many different mediums and textures. So I'm just going to go over this word Grateful. So on Monday morning we will be sending the email out for the third stamp. I know a lot of you are collecting them and are probably going to do the whole 12-week program, but I know a lot of you are just cherry picking, and that's also absolutely fine. But just keep your eye out for the newsletter, because it might be one of the ones that you absolutely love and are waiting for. Okay, and like I say, we only have a certain amount. Thankfully though, we've been okay. We have literally been okay, which has filled me with joy really, because I hate it when people miss out. So let's just move this out of the way. And there you have the card, which just needs trimming down slightly and mounting onto a top folding note card. Now you probably looked at this one and thought, that is too difficult. I've literally just done that in 5 minutes with a couple of distress inks and a black ink pad. You can do it at home, guys, you really can. You just have to have the confidence to pick this up, and you get your inks out and do it, and you will be able to achieve these sorts of results. So let's just show you the two cards that we've tried to do today. So that one, let's stand them up, hey, because they'll look nicer stood up. I will post the pictures on Facebook, so if you can pop a comment on for me and let me know your thoughts about today's class and how you think we've done, and any improvements or anything you should think that we will be doing, because you know I don't get it right all the time, and I do want to get it right for you at home. So have a play this afternoon, let us see your pictures. If you have, get them posted on the Eureka fan page and all the other places. Show your family, show your friends, you know. I can't wait to see what you're all going to do. I have got a few bits to do this afternoon. If you are waiting for replies on emails and things like that, I'm going to spend about a further hour at work today, and then I'm going to head off home and sort my home and my family out for the weekend. So then come Monday morning, we are back here 3 o'clock Monday with this very stamp, doing some different techniques. We're not going to be doing all of the cards that are here, we're going to be doing more. okay? So I have some other ideas that I've not actually had a chance to do myself, but we are going to be doing them live with you guys. So I'll see you all Monday at 3 o'clock. And do I need to tell you about anything else? Don't forget the newsletter on Monday morning. It's a super cool one. So I will see you all later. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely afternoon, whatever you're doing. See you later. Bye.